A bank agent threw a pregnant Marine widow out of her own diner. He thought she was alone. He didn't know she had just defended 6 combat vets, and those 6 vets were now calling 1,000 of their brothers. I'm known as Joe, and I'll be the narrator of this story. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe to help us reach our goal of 1,000 subscribers. Amelia is a specter moving through the wreckage of a life she did not choose. It is 6 months since the funeral, and 7 months since she felt the first flutter of new life. She stands behind the chipped Formica counter of the Cornerstone Diner, a place that was meant to be a beginning, not an ending. This diner was Mark's dream, a future he sketched out on bar napkins while deployed overseas. He was a Marine, a man of profound conviction and simple hopes. He poured every dime they had, every drop of his VA loan, into this place. Now he is gone, killed in a meaningless construction accident, and Amelia is left to honor a ghost, carrying his child and the crushing weight of his legacy. She moves with the exhausted grace of the grieving, her swollen belly a constant reminder of what she has lost and what she is fighting for. Before we dive deeper into Amelia's story, I want to know, where are you watching this from? Drop your city and country in the comments right now. Her mornings start before the sun, battling nausea and a bone-deep weariness that grief compounds. She is drowning in invoices she cannot read and foreclosure notices she understands all too well. The bank, once so eager to partner with a hometown hero, now only sends automated threats. She is trying to honor the past while protecting the future, and she is failing. Yet her spirit remains unbroken, a stubborn ember of decency in a cold world. Amelia is fundamentally good. She knows every regular by name, knows how they take their coffee, knows which ones are struggling. She slips free meals to local veterans who linger over a single cup for hours, seeking warmth and company. She gives her only waitress, a single mother named Chloe, the best shifts, often covering the grill herself when Chloe has to leave for her kid. She is paying everyone but herself, subsisting on leftover biscuits and the fumes of her own determination. Her kindness is a liability in a world that values profit over people. She is utterly, terrifyingly alone. Her parents are gone, and Mark was an only child. The community pities her, but pity does not pay the electricity bill. She's the town's tragic widow, a symbol of bad luck. She does not understand balance sheets or leverage in assets. Her only currency is service. Her only collateral is her word. She is a lamb, pregnant and unprotected, walking through a valley of wolves who see her only as meat. The narrative does not care about fairness. It only cares about what happens when the truly innocent meet the truly predatory. And that meeting is coming soon. The story unfolds in Warren, Ohio, a forgotten jewel of the American Rust Belt. This is a town that prosperity has passed by, a place where the skeletons of dead factories cast long shadows over the main street. Hope is a scarce commodity here. The storefronts are papered over, plywood weeping in the humidity. For rent signs have faded and curled, monuments to an optimism that packed up and left with. The steel industry. This is not a place for second chances. It is a place of endings, a landscape of quiet desperation and simmering resentment, where people hold tight to what little they have and look upon strangers with suspicion. The Cornerstone Diner is the last light on a dying street. It sits, as its name suggests, on the corner of Main and 4th, a brick and glass holdout against the encroaching decay. Its neon sign sputters, the O in Cornerstone having given up months ago. Inside, the air conditioner is broken, a fatal blow in the oppressive Ohio summer. The heat is a physical weight, pressing down on the cracked vinyl booths and the weary patrons. Amelia, sweating and visibly pregnant, refills coffee cups with a strained smile, the humidity fogging the glass display case that holds only 3-day-old donuts and a half-eaten apple pie. The atmosphere is one of profound stagnation. This is the definition of desolation. The air smells of old grease, stale coffee, and the coffee metallic tang of failure. The town itself feels trapped, caught between a glorious industrial past it cannot reclaim and a future it cannot afford. The system has failed everyone here. The jobs went overseas, the politicians made promises they never kept, and the banks that took the bailout money now refuse to lend to the small businesses that are the town's only lifeline. Warren is a microcosm of forgotten America, a place waiting for either a miracle or a final judgment. Against this backdrop, Amelia's struggle is amplified. The bank holding the diner's mortgage is not the local institution Mark made his deal with. It was bought out, absorbed by a massive faceless entity in Chicago. The Midwest Regional Bank does not care about Mark's service. They do not care about his widow. They do not care about his unborn child. They care only about the numbers on a page, and Amelia's numbers are stained deep red. They are not interested in community. They are interested in liquidation. She has tried to find help. She has begged for a renegotiation, for a grace period, for simple human compassion. The bank's automated phone system is a labyrinth designed to break the will. The local police chief, a man who ate at the diner weekly, just shook his head. "It's a civil matter, Amelia," he said, avoiding her eyes. "My hands are tied." The city council, desperate for any new investment, sees the bank not as a villain but as a potential partner for urban renewal. Every door has been slammed. In her face, Amelia is trapped. She is a good person failed by a broken system. She is standing on a precipice with the legal, financial, and political structures of her world forming an impenetrable wall of indifference. She is the perfect victim, isolated, vulnerable, and with no one to call for help. The stage is set, not just for a tragedy, but for an injustice. The narrative is holding its breath, waiting for the predator to step out from the shadows and claim his prize. Her goodness is about to be tested. It happens on a Tuesday, the hottest day of the year. The oppressive humidity has driven everyone indoors, leaving the diner hauntingly empty save for one man. He sits in the corner booth, radiating an expensive chill that defies the sweltering heat. This is Silas Vane, the man from Chicago. He is not here for the coffee. He is here to finalize the foreclosure. He sips bottled water, his tailored suit a stark insult to the diner's fading glory. His eyes, the color of polished steel, flick over the peeling paint and the water-stained ceiling tiles with undisguised contempt. He is an executioner, and he is enjoying his work. Then, the sound begins. It is not a sound Warren is used to. It starts as a distant rumble, a vibration felt in the chest before it is heard by the ear. It is the sound of approaching thunder, but the sky is a clear, brutal blue. The rumble grows, echoing off the empty factories, magnifying until it becomes a seismic roar. Silas Vane looks up from his paperwork, annoyed. Amelia, wiping sweat from her forehead, looks toward the door with a flicker of apprehension. The sound is not just passing through, it is slowing down. It is stopping, right outside her door. The roar of the engines is cut, replaced by the heavy silence of the street. The diner is plunged into shadow as 6 massive figures block the entrance. They are giants, men carved from road grit and defiance. They wear the colors of the Iron Redeemers Motorcycle Club. Their leather vests, called cuts, are adorned with patches that speak of long miles and a hard code. They are covered in road dust, their beards braided, their arms canvases of intricate tattoos. They are the boogeyman of the American highway, the very image of lawlessness. The few pedestrians on the street cross to the other side, heads down. Silas Vane, seeing them, stands up immediately. His face twists into a mask of disgust. He is a man who believes in order, and these men represent chaos. "Absolutely not," he says, his voice loud and carrying in the small space. "We are not serving your kind here. Get out." He gestures to the door, a petty king dismissing his subjects. "You are frightening the customers," he adds, gesturing to the empty diner, then pointing directly at Amelia, who stands frozen behind the counter. "You are frightening her. Leave." The leader of the group, a man whose sheer size seems to dim the lights, steps forward. His name is Breaker. His beard is a torrent of gray and black, and his eyes have seen things Vane could not imagine. He looks at Vane, not with anger, but with a flat, assessing calm. He does not speak. He simply stares, and in that stare, Vane's authority evaporates. The air crackles, the silence stretching taut. Vane, for the first time, looks uncertain. He is used to people cowering. This man does not know how. Before Breaker can respond, before the confrontation can escalate, Amelia moves. Her hands are shaking, but her voice is clear. "No." All eyes snap to her. "He's the customer, sir," she says, looking directly at Vane. "You are not. This is my diner, and in my diner, we serve everyone." The words hang in the hot, still air. It is a stunning act of defiance, a defense of the indefensible. She is defending the men who scare the town from the man who is trying to destroy her. Vane is momentarily speechless, his face flushing a deep, mottled red. He is unaccustomed to being challenged, especially by someone he views as insignificant. "You will regret that," he hisses, low enough that only she can hear. He sits back down, pulling his phone from his pocket, his thumbs tapping angrily. He is documenting her insubordination. He is adding fuel to the fire of his legal assault. resolved. He has mistaken her decency for a final foolish provocation. Amelia ignores him, her heart pounding against her ribs. She grabs a stack of menus, her hands trembling so badly she almost drops them. She walks out from behind the counter, her pregnant belly leading the way. She stops in front of the 6 silent bikers. "Table for 6? She asks, her voice thin but resolute. Breaker looks down at her. He sees the exhaustion in her eyes. He sees the dark circles of sleeplessness. He sees the wedding ring on her finger, and he sees her profound, terrified courage. He gives a short, sharp nod. "Ma'am." The group follows her to the largest booth, the vinyl groaning under their combined weight. They slide in, filling the space, their presence making the diner feel even smaller. They are quiet, disciplined. They remove their sunglasses, placing them carefully on the table. They are not the chaotic animals Vane sees. They are a unit. Amelia brings them 6 glasses of ice water, her hands shaking as she sets them down. The water is from the tap, but they drink it like it is nectar. "Thank you, ma'am," Breaker says, his voice a low gravel. "We're not here to cause trouble. Just need coffee and some food. We've been on the road since dawn." Amelia nods, pulling out her notepad. "What can I get for you?" she asks. They order simple food: black coffee, pancakes, burgers, eggs. They are respectful, almost gentle. "And whatever pie you got left," another biker, Reaper, adds, gesturing to the sad apple pie in the case. As Amelia turns to put in the order, Breaker's eyes drift. They move past Vane, who is glaring at them, and settle on the wall behind the register. It is a small shrine, a folded American flag in a triangular case. A few framed photos. One of them shows a young man in a crisp uniform, smiling proudly. It is Mark, in his Marine Corps dress blues. Breaker's eyes narrow. He sees the Semper Fi bumper sticker on the cash register. He stares at the photo for a long moment. The other bikers notice his focus and follow his gaze. A silent, profound communication passes between them. These are not just any bikers. The Iron Redeemers MC is composed almost entirely of combat veterans, Army Rangers, Navy SEALs, and Marines. They are men who left one brotherhood and found another. They live by a code that Vane could never comprehend. It is a code built on loyalty, sacrifice, and honor. Breaker points to the photo. His voice is quiet, but it cuts through the diner. "The man in the picture, he family?" Amelia stops, turning back. She looks at the photo of Mark, her eyes instantly filling with tears. She swallows, nodding. "My husband," she whispers. "Mark, he was a Marine." Breaker nods slowly, a universe of understanding in that simple gesture. He taps his own chest, right over a small patch on his cut that simply says, USMC. "Recon," he says. The entire dynamic of the diner shifts. The tension does not disappear, but it changes. It is no longer a standoff. It is something else entirely. Silas Vane, watching from his corner, sees none of this. He sees only a grubby widow consorting with criminal trash. He has no concept of the invisible ironclad bond that has just been forged in the hot, still air of his foreclosure. He is blind to the honor code he has just violated. Amelia brings them their food. They eat quickly, efficiently, the only sound the clinking of silverware against heavy ceramic plates. They clear their plates. They drink all the coffee. They eat the entire pie. Amelia brings the check. The total is $52 and change. Breaker pulls a thick roll of cash from his jeans pocket, held together by a rubber band. He peels off a single $100 bill and places it on the table. "Keep it, ma'am," he says. Amelia protests. "That's too much." "I can't." Breaker gently pushes the bill back toward her. "You fed us," he says, "and you stood up for us. That's worth something." He and his men stand, their chairs scraping against the linoleum. They move toward the door, a wall of leather and muscle. Breaker pauses at the threshold, turning back to Amelia. He looks at her, then at her pregnant belly, then at the photo of Mark. "Your husband was a brother," he says, his voice thick with meaning. "You have a good heart. Stay strong." Then they are gone. The door swings shut, and the diner is plunged back into silence, leaving only the scent of road dust and the $100 bill on the table. The moment the door closes, Silas Vane is on his feet. The fragile peace shatters. His face is a mask of pure, reptilian rage. He strides to the counter, his expensive shoes slapping against the floor. He is livid. The act of kindness Amelia showed, her defiance in the face of his authority, has sealed sealed her fate. He sees her defense of the bikers as a personal, unforgivable insult. It was insubordination. It was, in his mind, her aligning herself with degenerates against him, against the bank, against order itself. "Are you insane?" he hisses, his voice trembling with fury. "Do you have any idea what you just did?" He slaps his phone down on the counter. "I was prepared to give you until the end of the day, a professional courtesy. But you chose to challenge me. You chose to embarrass me in front of that human garbage." Amelia flinches, backing away. "They were customers," she repeats weakly. "I didn't." Silence, Vane barks. He snatches a stack of folded papers from his briefcase and throws them onto the counter. The click of the heavy cardstock is as final as a gunshot. "It's over, Amelia. You forced my hand." He stabs a finger at the top page. "This is a notice of immediate eviction, citing the mortality clause in your husband's original loan agreement, the one the previous manager promised to overlook. His verbal agreement, as I told you, is legally worthless." Amelia's blood runs cold. "Immediate? You said I had until the end of the month." "I said I was considering an extension," Vane sneers. "Your little performance just cost you that. The bank is seizing this property, effective immediately." He walks around the counter, invading her personal space. He is physically larger than her, and he uses that size to intimidate. "You have 1 hour, he says, his voice dropping to a cold whisper. 1 hour to remove your personal effects. Then I am changing the locks, but I have nowhere to go," Amelia cries, tears streaming down her face. "I'm pregnant. This is my home. It's all I have." "That sounds like a personal problem, not a financial one," Vane says, his smile never reaching his dead eyes. "You should have thought of that before you decided to run a halfway house for criminals." He gestures expansively. "This is no longer your property. In fact, you are trespassing." He then commits the act that seals his own doom. He grabs her by the arm. It is not a gentle touch. His fingers dig into her skin. "Get out," he says, physically pushing her toward the door. "Get your things and get out of my building." Amelia stumbles, catching herself on a stool. The push is a violation. It is an assault. Chloe, the waitress who had been hiding in the kitchen, emerges, her cell phone in her hand, her face white with shock. "You can't do that," she yells. "I can and I did," Vane snaps, adjusting his tie. "She's off the premises. Call the police. I'll have her arrested for trespassing if she steps foot back in here." He turns his back on them both, dismissing them. He begins inspecting the kitchen equipment, already calculating its resale value. Amelia is left standing on the sidewalk in the brutal summer heat, her apron still on, holding nothing but the eviction notice. She has been publicly humiliated, physically assaulted, and rendered homeless. The owner has been kicked out. Chloe rushes out after her, holding her phone. "I'm calling the sheriff," she says, her hands shaking. She dials 911, her voice high with panic, explaining that her boss, a pregnant woman, was just assaulted and thrown out of her own business. They are put on hold. When the dispatcher finally comes on, the response is cold and bureaucratic. "Is she injured? Did she require medical assistance?" "No," Chloe admits, but he pushed her. "Ma'am, if there's no injury, it's his word against hers. The property dispute is a civil matter. We can't intervene in a lawful eviction. The system fails. The one institution designed to protect the innocent from the aggressive, the thin blue line, dismisses her. The law is not on her side. The law, in fact, is Vane's weapon." The officer informs them that if they try to re-enter the building, Vane will be within his rights to have them arrested. Chloe hangs up, her face a mask of disbelief. "They're not coming," she whispers. "They said it's a civil matter." Amelia collapses onto a nearby bus bench, a dry, racking sob escaping her. It is the sound of absolute despair. This is the moment of total desolation. The hero is at her lowest point. The villain has won. He is inside her diner, her home, tallying his spoils. The community is absent. The law is indifferent. She has been abandoned by every official channel. She is pregnant, alone, and has just lost everything her husband died for. The narrative has pushed her to the very edge of the cliff. The world is a place of cold contracts and brutal indifference. But the narrative has forgotten one thing. It has forgotten the $100 bill. Chloe, watching her friend crumble, feels a surge of protective rage. She is not a fighter, she is a waitress. But she is also a witness, and she remembers the look in the eyes of the men Amelia defended. She remembers the quiet respect. She remembers the USMC patch. He called him a brother, Chloe mutters to herself. He called Mark a brother. She looks at Amelia, broken on the bench. Then she looks down the highway, in the direction the bikers left. I'll be right back, she says. Don't move. Amelia doesn't even look up. Chloe sprints. She does not know what she is doing. She only knows that the official heroes failed, so she's going to find the unofficial ones. She runs the half-mile to the Pilot gas station at the edge of town, the one where all the big rigs and bikes refuel before hitting the interstate. She prays they are still there. As she rounds the corner, gasping for breath, she sees them. The 6 Iron Redeemers are fueling up, checking their tires, preparing to merge back into the river of the highway. They are about to disappear, to ride onto their Memorial Day event, leaving Warren and its quiet tragedies behind. Chloe runs, waving her arms, screaming, "Wait, stop, please." Breaker looks up, his eyes narrowing at the sight of the hysterical waitress. He instantly recognizes her from the diner. His hand drops to the knife on his belt. He assumes Vane has sent someone after them, but Chloe collapses against a gas pump, sobbing for breath. He kicked her out, she gasps. The man in the suit. He kicked Amelia out. He pushed her. The other bikers gather around, their expressions hardening. What do you mean, kicked her out? Breaker asks, his voice dangerously low. He evicted her. Chloe cries, the story tumbling out. He said she had 1 hour. He said the diner is his. He shoved her, a pregnant woman. I called the cops. They won't do anything. They said it's a civil matter. He took her home. There's a terrible heavy silence. The only sound is the digital ping of a completed gas sale. Breaker's face, which had been relaxed moments before, becomes a mask of glacial fury. He does not yell. He does not swear. He simply absorbs the information. He looks at his men. Reaper, Grits, Doc, Silent. Every one of them is a veteran. Every one of them understands what has just happened. This is not a civil matter. This is a desecration. Vane did not just evict a widow. He did not just assault a pregnant woman. He dishonored the family of a United States Marine. He broke a sacred, unwritten code. The system, the police, the banks, they had all failed. The social contract was broken. And into that moral vacuum, a different kind of justice was about to flow. Breaker, slowly, deliberately, pulls his phone from his vest pocket. He's not just a biker on a road trip. He is the national president of the Iron Redeemers Motorcycle Club. And they were, as Chloe had overheard, on their way to the club's National Memorial Ride in Pennsylvania. He was not leading 6 men. He was leading a movement. He taps a single number on his phone. The call connects instantly. "This is Breaker," he says, his voice a low growl. "Change of plans. Reroute everyone. Now." He pauses, listening. Warren, Ohio, the Cornerstone Diner on Main Street. A brother's widow is being evicted. They put hands on her. He ends the call. He looks at Chloe. "Go back. Stay with her. We're coming." 2 hours pass. In Warren, Ohio, the heat of the afternoon has reached its peak. Silas Vane, having changed the locks, is inside the diner. The broken air conditioner does not bother him. He is on the phone with his superiors in Chicago, boasting of his efficiency. He has liquidated the asset, has dealt with the non-compliant former owner. He is a good soldier of capital. Outside, Amelia sits on the hard plastic bus bench, numb. Chloe sits with her, holding her hand, having relayed Breaker's cryptic promise. He said they're coming, but Amelia's hope is gone. Then the sound returns. This is not the rumble of 6 engines. This is the sound of the sky tearing open. It is a seismic event, a low-frequency roar that vibrates in the pavement, rattling the windows of the empty storefronts. It is the sound of 1,000 angry gods. Vane, inside the diner, pauses his phone call. What is that noise? He mutters. He looks out the window. The street is empty. But the sound is growing. It is not passing by. It is coming for them. It is coming from the east, and it is coming from the west. The Iron Redeemers, rerouted from every interstate and state highway in the tri-state area, are descending on Warren. They are not a group. They are an army. The first wave crests the hill, A phalanx of Harley-Davidsons 20 wide, rolling slow and steady. Behind them, another wave, and another. A river of chrome and black leather flows into the town. A disciplined, terrifying procession. They are a flood of steel. The few people on the street freeze. Store owners, who had ignored Amelia's plight, press their faces to the glass of their windows, their eyes wide with terror. This is the invasion they have always feared. The nightmare of civilized society. The local sheriff steps out of his office, takes one look at the endless column of bikers pouring into his town, and makes the wisest decision of his career. He steps back inside, locks the door, and sits down at his desk. He is suddenly very busy with paperwork. Silas Vane watches, his smugness dissolving into a cold, prickling fear. His call with Chicago is forgotten. He sees them, dozens, then hundreds. They keep coming. They are not riding wildly. They are moving with purpose, with military precision. They line the street, parking their bikes in perfect, orderly rows, facing the diner. They form a silent, menacing perimeter, enclosing Main Street. The roar of 1,000 V-twin engines cuts to idle, a rumbling, syncopated heartbeat of menace. The town is enveloped in an absolute, terrifying silence, broken only by the potato-potato thrum of the idling bikes. No one speaks. The bikers just sit, their faces unreadable behind their sunglasses. They are a wall of judgment. Vane, trapped inside the diner, his property, begins to sweat. This is not in the bank's manual. There is no protocol for this. He frantically dials 911. There are hundreds of them. He pants. Hell's Angels. They're surrounding the building. Send help. Amelia and Chloe, watching from the bench, are surrounded too. But they are not being threatened. The bikers have formed a protective crescent behind them, shielding them from view. One of the bikers, a woman with Sarge on her vest, steps off her bike. She walks too. Amelia, holding 2 bottles of cold water. She kneels, ignoring the concrete grit. "You're Amelia," she says. "It is not a question. Breaker sent us. You're safe now. We're family." She hands Amelia the water. The click-clack of heavy boots on asphalt announces Breaker's arrival. He has parked directly in front of the diner's entrance. He dismounts, followed by his original 6 men. He walks past Vane, who is pounding on the inside of the locked glass door, screaming for the police. Breaker ignores him. He walks directly to Amelia. He removes his own cut, the heavy leather vest that is his symbol of authority. In his hands it looks like a shield. He holds it out. "Mark was a Marine," he says. "The Redeemers are a Marine's family." He gently, respectfully drapes the massive vest over Amelia's small shoulders. It envelops her, a heavy, protective mantle. "No one," he says, his voice loud enough for the first few rows of bikers to hear, "messes with our family." He turns and faces the diner. He faces the man trapped inside. The time for negotiation is over. The entire town is holding its breath. The bikers are not rioting. They are not looting. They are simply being. Their presence is the message. They are a physical manifestation of a code that the town, the police, and the bank had forgotten. They are a 1,000-man jury, and they have already reached their verdict. Vane, watching the widow be draped in the colors of his enemy, finally understands. He is not in charge. This is the moment of absolute reversal. The powerless has become the protected. The predator has become the prey. The system that had failed Amelia has been rendered obsolete, replaced by an older, more primal system of honor and retribution. The degenerates have become the paladins. The asset Vane came to liquidate has become a fortress, guarded by an army that fears nothing he represents. The ground itself trembles with the power of their engines. Breaker walks to the door. Vane, on the other side of the glass, holds up his phone. "I've called the police. You're all being arrested for trespass." Breaker simply looks at him. Then he raises a single gloved hand. In unison, 1,000 engines roar to life. A deafening explosion of sound, a promise of consequences. The sound is so powerful it shakes the glass in its frame. Vane stumbles backward, dropping his phone. "If you believe that real power should protect the vulnerable, not the predators, smash that like button right now. Your engagement proves that people still care more about justice than they do about cold, corporate rules. The narrative is about to deliver a justice the law never could." Breaker does not need to kick the door in this time. He has the key. He pulls a heavy-duty bolt cutter from his saddlebag. Vane, watching him, scrambles to barricade the door with a table. It is a pathetic, futile gesture. Breaker snips the new padlock Vane had installed as if it were thread. The chain falls away. He pushes the door open. The small bell above it jingles, a tiny absurd sound in the face of the impending judgment. Breaker steps inside. He is flanked by Doc and Reaper. They are not here to hurt Vane. They are here to educate him. You made a mistake, Breaker says, his voice a calm rumble. He pulls out his phone. This is Chloe, the waitress. She recorded you assaulting the widow of a Marine. He plays the video. Chloe's shaky footage clearly shows Vane grabbing Amelia's arm and shoving her. That's illegal, Vane sputters. You can't record me. It's called assault. Asshole, Reaper growls. And in Ohio, it's a one-party consent state. That recording is perfectly legal, and we've just sent it to the Warren Tribune, the Cleveland Plain Dealer, and the national news desk at Fox. We also sent it to the CEO of Midwest Regional Bank. Vane's face turns the color of ash. His career, his reputation, it is all evaporating. What do you want? He whispers. His arrogance completely gone. You can't be here. This is the bank's property. Not for long, Breaker says. He tosses a thick manila envelope onto the counter, right on top of Vane's eviction notice. That's a cash offer for the full outstanding balance of the loan, plus $10,000. We're buying the building. Vane laughs. A high-pitched, hysterical sound. You can't. A motorcycle club? The bank will never sell to a known criminal organization. You're right, Breaker says. The bank won't sell to the Iron Redeemers. They won't have to. He steps aside. Doc, one of the other bikers, steps forward. He is not just a biker. He is a corporate lawyer from Pittsburgh, and he is a member. The offer isn't from the club, Doc says, adjusting his tie, which he wears under his leather cut. It's from the Marks Lighthouse Foundation, a non-profit for veterans families that are club sponsors. It was incorporated 3 years ago. Its financials are immaculate. He slides a certified check across the counter. This is a legitimate all-cash offer, far above market value for this dump. Your bank's fiduciary duty is to accept it. Vane is trapped. He knows the law. A cash offer, above asking, from a legitimate nonprofit. If he refuses, the bank can be sued by its own shareholders. If he accepts, he loses. But then he realizes something. She's still out, he sneers. You bought the building, but she's still evicted. The foundation owns it, not her. Breaker smiles. It is not a nice smile. That's the other part of the deal, Silas. We're not just buying the building. We're rehiring the manager. Breaker nods to the door. Amelia is escorted back inside, not as a trespasser, but as the guest of honor. She is still wearing Breaker's vest, a silent symbol of her new status. Amelia, Breaker says, his voice gentle, the Marks Lighthouse Foundation would be honored if you would accept the position of general manager of the Cornerstone Diner, effective immediately, with a full salary, health benefits for you and the baby, and full operational control. The diner is yours. The foundation just pays the bills. Amelia looks at Vane, then at Breaker, then at the sea of bikers outside. She is crying, but these are not the tears of despair she shed on the bench. They are tears of overwhelming, cathartic release. She nods, unable to speak. Good, Breaker says. He turns back to Vane. So as the acting representative of the new owners, and on behalf of the new general manager, I have just one thing to say to you, Silas. Get out. You have 1 minute to remove your personal effects from our property. The reversal is total. It is biblical. The bully, stripped of his power, his face a mask of humiliation, grabs his briefcase. He does not make eye contact. He walks toward the door, past the woman he assaulted, but the 1,000 bikers outside have not moved. Vane stops, terrified. He has to walk through them. They won't touch you, Breaker says. We don't get our hands dirty with trash, but they will look at you, and they will remember your face. Vane pushes the door open. The jingle of the bell is his walk of shame. As he steps onto the sidewalk, 1,000 engines, at a silent signal from Breaker, rev as one. The sound is a physical blow, a deafening chorus of judgment that washes over him. He flinches, cowering, and runs, half stumbling, to his expensive car. He speeds away, his tires squealing, exiled from the town he tried to conquer. The roar of the engines turns into a cheer. The crisis is over, but the work is just beginning. Breaker holds up his hand. All right, he bellows. This place is a dump. Our manager deserves better. And the flood of justice becomes a flood of reconstruction. The army of bikers becomes an army of contractors. These are not just riders. They are electricians, plumbers, carpenters, and painters. They are union men and skilled tradesmen who live by the code. They swarm the diner. Within hours, the broken air conditioner is not just fixed, It is replaced with a brand new, top-of-the-line unit. The peeling paint is scraped and covered with fresh coats. The broken neon sign is taken down, rewired, and hung again, glowing a brilliant, warm white. The ripped vinyl booths are repaired. The kitchen is deep cleaned by men with recon tattoos on their necks. They are restoring more than a building. They are restoring a dream. They do not just fix the diner. They stock it. A biker with a quartermaster patch pulls up in a massive truck. He and his team unload case after case of fresh food, coffee, flour, eggs, bacon, milk. They fill the empty pantry. They fill the empty walk-in cooler. They are stocking the diner for a month, ensuring Amelia will not have to worry about suppliers. They are giving her a running start. As evening falls, the diner is reborn. It is clean, bright, and cool. The bikers, having finished their work, now become customers. They file in row by row, filling every seat. The line snakes out the door and down the block. Breaker, laughing, ties one of Amelia's aprons around his massive waist and mans the grill. Chloe, her face streaked with happy tears, runs plates. Amelia, sitting at her register, rings up order after order. They are not just buying food, they are paying tribute. Every biker pays with a $50 or $100 bill, and every single one of them tells Amelia to keep the change. The cash register, once empty, is overflowing. It is a symbol of her new reality. She is not just safe, she is prosperous. She is protected. She is family. The townspeople, who watched in fear, now creep out, drawn by the light and the laughter. They see the degenerates serving coffee and clearing tables. The final act of the night is the presentation. Breaker silences the crowd. He calls Amelia to the front. When you join the Iron Redeemers, he says, you get your cut. When you're born into it, you get one too. He holds up a tiny, child-sized leather vest. On the back is a single patch, property of the Iron Redeemers. He hands it to Amelia. For the little one, he says. So he or she always knows who their family is. The community, the bankers, the police, they all judged by the cover. They saw leather and tattoos and assumed the worst. They saw a suit and a briefcase and assumed he was civilized. They were wrong. The system failed, but the code did not. The real heroes were the ones society had cast out. They were the ones who understood that loyalty is not a contract. It is a bond forged in service and paid in full. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is not standing strong when you have an army. Courage is serving coffee to 6 rough men when you are terrified, pregnant, and have every reason to say no, because it is the right thing to do. Amelia's small act of kindness was a stone tossed in a pond, and it brought back a tidal wave of honor. Share this video with someone who needs to remember that heroes still exist. They do not always wear badges, and they do not always wear capes. Sometimes they wear leather, and they always pay their debts.